come support us. Chattogram Challenges, born to win.
My name's Benny Howell, I'm from England and I'm an all-rounder. I was lucky to grow up in a school in England where my dad ran the sports program there. So what happened is we lived in the school grounds, which meant I was able to see all the school cricket team play. So I was lucky enough to be able to go to the fields and play cricket and watch. And it was pretty much, as long as I can remember, it was pretty much when I was 3 or 4 years old, picked up a bat and I couldn't put it down. My first professional match was for Hampshire. It was a 40 over game. We used to call it Pro 40, which is now the 50 over competition in England. It was a TV game at the Rose Bowl, which is now called the Ageas Bowl, and yeah, I made my debut there as an opening batter. I only made 12, but it was a good experience. Actually, no, I did. I bowled 4 overs and I got 1 wicket. I had a few heroes watching the game. I obviously loved Brian Lara when he got the 375, his first world record, and I love that. And then he got the 400. So I'm nothing like him as a player, but I love watching him play. I also like watching Steve Waugh. I loved his grit and determination when he played. I enjoyed that. But most of all, I think it was more my dad. He loved the game. He gave me the passion to play the game, and the love for the game came mainly from him. And then watching all the good cricketers at school play, and it was. We used to do tours to Barbados, and I used to do that as a kid, watching the school team tour to Barbados. I was lucky enough to come along. So all of those experiences together, helped me, grow up to play the game I love. I do have some pairs of socks, yellow, red and blue, and I've got to choose the right socks. If I'm playing a team who's playing in red, I can't wear the red socks. The same with blue, I can't wear the blue socks. So it has to be a colour that's not the other team, otherwise, I guess that's my only little superstition. It's only come in the last 2 years as well. I wouldn't say I'm a sledger, but I am known to give a few bits of talk when I'm on the pitch. How you are on the pitch is nothing like you are off the pitch, because you have to be a different person, you have to put your ego on sometimes, and sometimes it's necessary. So sometimes I will give the batter a little bit of chat. In fact, last game I think Taskin was bowling, and he bowled a few bumpers which I didn't quite connect, and I knew he was in the last over going to bowl another few, so I started chatting and said, go on, bring it on, bowl another one. And he did, and I managed to hit him for 2 sixes in a row, so I gave him a bit of talk back. And he seems actually such a lovely bloke off the pitch, but I guess when you're on the pitch, it doesn't really matter. You've got to do what you've got to do to be able to perform. I was born in France. My brother and me were born in France. He's 2 years older, because my dad had a job in France for at least 10 years, and so that's where we were born. I can't remember anything because we left the country when I was 2. Grew up in most of my life in England. My mum's Australian, so they moved back to Australia when I was 17, 18 to Melbourne, which meant I was on my own playing county cricket. And in the meantime, I was travelling towards Australia and England every 6 months to play cricket and follow the summer. And when I was 26, I got married to a lovely lady from Argentina who is also a citizen of America, and we have 2 kids together. So we have kids who are Argentinian, American, English, Australian, and obviously maybe a little bit of French, because my brother now lives in France as well, because that's where I was born. So I guess that's where the citizen of the world saying comes from. And now I'm learning a few Bangla words, so maybe in the future I'll come a little bit Bangladesh.
Like you're the master of slow balls. Do you really know to bowl like 50 times of slower?
I think that was an exaggeration from an article written, but I do have a lot of slower balls, and it depends on the pitch, the scenario, the batter, and the matchup whether I'm going to use those balls. I tried to get fast bowling one time, but it wasn't quite for me because my body wasn't able to do that. So I decided to bowl lots of slow balls, lots of variations to try and mix up the pace of the batter. And now, obviously, as you've seen, I'm trying to bowl spin, bowl some leg spin and off spin as well to add more value to teams. So I would say 50, but I got a lot. So when I was actually where I met my now wife, I went to Florida, Miami, and I watched a baseball game. My first game, I never really watched baseball, and I became fascinated with the battle between the pitcher and the batter. And what I became fascinated by is the signals the catcher behind the plate would make to the pitcher to tell him what balls, what change-ups he should throw. And so from that I studied pitchers and the different grips they use and everything to be able to move the ball in the air and change the speeds and the angle and everything like that. And so that winter I went to Melbourne and I played cricket, but I also played some baseball over in Australia on Sunday, and that's where I learned the knuckleball about 10 years ago, the split finger, the slider and the curveball, all of those sort of balls. So I thought, why not? If they can do it throwing the ball, why can't we do it bowling the ball? So that's why I watched it and loved it and brought it to cricket.
First time you played for Khulna, you also played for Rangpur, and this time you are playing for Chittagong. I think it's a second home for you, isn't it?
It is. I know the culture well as an English person could know the culture, yes. And I love the culture, it's great fun, everyone's friendly, everyone loves cricket, which I like, and people get on with life as it is. You know, we're very fortunate in England in a first world country like England, where we get a lot of things sorted out for us, and when you come to Bangladesh you see a lot of poverty on the streets, a lot of sort of rawness we'd call it in England, where, you know, people just get on with life and that's how it is. But yet I see people smiling and happy and everything like that. So I think there's a lot of lessons we can take from here in Bangladesh back home, and I try and bring that, you know, bring the lessons I learned here for people back home to actually see that there's a bigger world out there, and Bangladesh is actually one of the great places to go to and visit and see. So I love my experiences here and I always will.
What do you like about Bangladesh? Food, weather?
Me, like what I said, is the friendliness. I think what I love most is the people, because they're so friendly, and there's no one judges one another like you can get in a lot of countries like England, you know, Australia, America. Everyone just gets on with it and accepts people for who they are. They're very emotional, but in a good way. You know, they like to express their emotions. You know, when they're sad, they'll let you know they're sad. If they're happy, they'll let you know you're happy. And their passion for cricket and life itself, that's what I love most about it. I mean, the food is great, sometimes a little spicy for me, but most of all it's the people, the friendly people. Well, I grew up, when I first played and signed my professional contract with Hampshire, I was actually an opening batter, so I always have that in me. I do consider myself as a proper batter. But what's happened over the years is that I fell in love with bowling so much that I sort of neglected my batting a little bit. So my bowling has become more my strength, but actually now I've decided that if I want to improve my game even further, I've got to still work hard at my batting. And whatever role I play, I've got to be able to play in that role. And at the minute my role is to come in and hit, and I want to do that to the best I possibly can. If there was a point in my career where I might go up the order and bat, which I have done before in the top 3, 4, 5, then yeah, I do consider myself a proper batter, and I will be able to train and utilise that opportunity to be able to perform well in those positions as well. But at the minute, that's right now, I'm a batter who comes in at number 5 or number 6 and tries to hit as many 4s and 6s as he can. One innings where I bowled 4 overs, I got my first 5 wickets in a game. That was in England in a county match. That was a special moment, and my brother-in-law actually caught the 5th catch on the boundary, which was nice, so that was a really good experience. There's obviously a lot of wickets I've really enjoyed getting. I enjoy, actually in the BPL, my first BPL, I enjoy getting Kumar Sangakkara out. I bowled a few slow balls, he missed them, and then I bowled a nice quick one that bowled him. I'm sure you guys probably might be able to find the footage of that, but yeah, that was a sweet wicket. There's been many great cricketers. I think sharing a dressing room with Chris Gale and AB de Villiers at the same time was pretty special for Rangpur Riders. That was very special. And I also managed to play with, you know, Matai Muralitharan at Gloucestershire when he was our T20 overseas, and he's obviously one of the great spin bowlers of all time. So I think those are the names that stick out for me.
What Benny Howell does when he is not playing cricket?
What do I do?
Yeah, what do you do?
At home, I've got my 2 kids, so I'm very much a dad at home. I try and get away from cricket, and got my kids there to look after, to play with. They're my life. But when I'm here in hotels and where the kids are back home in England, I love to read. I've got lots of books I like to read. I'm very relaxed off the pitch. I like to spend time on my own and do things like that. I love learning about things, and reading is for me one of the great pleasures.
Tell me what your hobbies.
Well, reading's one of them. And recently actually, Will Jacks has got me into the PlayStation and the Call of Duty, because he brought it over here with him. So me and him and actually Sean Tate, we're playing some serious battles on there. So that's been a bit of fun.
You mentioned Will Jacks. You also played with him in Team 10. I think, does it help you here batting with him in the middle?
Yeah, it does. Obviously, if you know someone, it's a lot easier. So yeah, I got to know him a bit in the T10 and obviously here, and he's a serious player. And he's only 23, but he's actually very mature for his age, as well as being a quality player. So it's great to have experience of playing with him twice now, and hopefully more times in the future.
After 10 years, where are you going to see Benny Howell?
10 years, I'll be 43. I want to still be playing. If I stay fit, I can still be playing. So I want to look back at 43, and I probably want to have achieved playing for England. I want to play in many franchise comps, including the IPL, and I just want to be really enjoying my cricket and watching my kids grow up at the same time. So that for me is, I want to have no regrets in 10 years' time. I want to make sure I did everything I can, work my hardest, and look back and say I couldn't have left anything more out on the pitch. So that's what I want to see and think.
Do you think this BPL can be something that the selector might look at you in future for national side?
I hope so. Look, I mean, I've got to perform as best I can in whatever tournament I'm playing in, and obviously right now the BPL's given me the opportunity to play in this. So for sure, I mean, I was lucky enough to play with Joff Archer before he had played for England, and he managed to go on and play in the Big Bash then for England and become a superstar. So I think every chance that if you perform well in a competition like this, 100%. Hopefully, I mean, I can't control the selectors, but I would like to think that they look at it and see that actually, yeah, you are up to it and you are able to perform at the highest level. So that's my aim. And first of all, I've got to perform in this comp first before I think about anything else.
Is there any chance after like a few years that Benny Howell become coach of Chattogram Challenges?
Benny Howell become what?
The coach of Chattogram Challenges.
Player coach. How many years from now?
You said you will.
In 10 years' time?
After 15. Let's say
15 years?
Yes.
Oh, there's always a chance. I mean, 15 years is a long way off, but I enjoy coaching. I like helping the guys. When the guys in the team ask me about the game of cricket and the skills, and I love giving advice and talking to them about the game and what I've learned. I really enjoy it. So yeah, coaching for the future would definitely be something I'll be interested in, but it's a long time in the future right now. And I guess if I do become a coach, then Chattogram Challenges will be up there with one of my teams I'd want to coach.
Tell me an interesting story from your childhood.
An interesting story.
It can be anything.
How interesting. My
Very
first kiss?
Yeah, like this. If you want to share, we don't have any problem.
Let me have a think. Have I ever got any interesting ones? I used to, I tell you what I did used to do. I used to, this is quite funny, I used to escape from the house in the middle of the night when my parents were sleeping, and take my bat and ball in the dark towards the school cricket grounds and get a light, find a torch. We had an old school torch, and I used to get an underarms for myself and just hit into the net. And my parents would wake up all worried where I was, and they thought I'd just gone missing or got kidnapped or something, but I was just down in the cricket nets at 1 in the morning just with myself and a ball and bat. So that's one interesting story.
Tell me, how did you meet your wife?
In America, at a restaurant. I had a friend I knew in America, and was friends with my now wife, and we met in a restaurant. I think it was a sushi restaurant, and it was there in Miami. So yeah, we met there, and we ended up becoming, I guess, over the phone, we ended up developing a relationship, and then we sort of went from there, and then ended up living together about 6 months from there.
Can Benny Howell sing?
No, he can't sing. He's very, very bad singing. You don't want to hear that.
Dance?
He's not.
Can Benny dance?
Depends on the music. It's a bit of Spanish music. I can move my hips a little bit. I'll maybe show you another day.
In the field.
In the field, I might have to do a little dance.
I think Naso Man Sharifil is doing some steps.
Okay, if we're looking like we're going to win tomorrow and I get a wicket maybe, or at the end of the game and we win, I might do a little dance.
Come support us. Chattogram Challengers, born to win.